Here to persuade all of you that same-sex marriage should be legalized in Hong Kong. Now, I would like to invite all of you to utilize your imaginations and think about how it would feel like if you never received the same right or same equality as the majority. And nowadays, only being heterosexuals will be considered as normal in the Chinese society. And same-sex marriage is a long-running battle for many developed countries. And there are two main reasons to explain why the homosexual marriage should be legalized in Hong Kong. And the first reason is that the relationship of the homosexual married couples are relatively stable compared to the heterosexual one. And the second reason is that everyone should receive the same right and same equality regardless of their sexual orientation. I'm here to persuade all of you that the first point is that the relationship durations of the homosexual married couples are relatively durable than the heterosexual ones. And under the longitudinal data collected from HCMST statistic in 2016, the breakup rate of the homosexual couples are nearly 0% in 2009 to 2012. And also based on the data from the institutions of Wilson's and Frank Berner, and there were only 1% of homosexual married couples get divorced each year, while 2% of the heterosexual couples get divorced. And nowadays, media is trying to perpetuate the stereotypes towards sexual minorities. And when we first think about the term LGBT, and many proponents of the anti-homosexual proclaim that their relationship is not stable enough, and it was latent the continuous genealogical predicate charge, because the Confucianism is deep-rooted in Chinese traditional family values, which means that family without kids is not stable. Fortunately, adoption can eliminate the perception of Chinese traditional family values and enhance the stability towards the relationship of the homosexual married couples. Also, adoption can accelerate the economic growth as a chance to receive as well as educational aspirations, which can diminish the poverty, and children can receive a committed parents and stable home. Also, with reference to the data collected by William Institute using LA School of Law in 2009, it acknowledged that 72% of respondents believe that couples' relationship will be more stable and committed to each other by entering into a civil partnership. And therefore, people should abandon all these kind of stereotypes and hypotheses to show respect to various parties. And undoubtedly, legalization of the same-sex marriage will benefit to many parties in society. So, why do we have to deny same-sex marriage? Fortunately, second reason is that the homosexual couples are ought to be granted the identical right of marriage. The legalization of same-sex marriage can decrease the death rate, and you may wonder how possibly this topic is related to death. In the absence of civil recognitions, the homosexual couples were not regarded as legally married, and their marital right is exploited, which is contravenes with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights Article 16, which refers to humans are entitled to obtain the equal rights towards marriage. Instead, without civil recognitions, these sexual minorities is not eligible to inherit the legacy and social security such as the death penalty. With the marriage equality, a spouse can also receive the social security benefit as same as the heterosexual married couples. According to the Family Acceptance Project in 2009, lack of option of marriage will threaten the self-confidence of these sexual minorities in the society, which may lead them to commit suicide or avoid to have a medical care. Based on the data, 40% of the homeless teens which identify as LGBT and they did attempt suicide before due to a high level of family rejections. As a result, a spurn of homosexuality will provoke a dangerous consequence for these sexual minorities. Besides, over 30% of the transgender procrastinate or avoid to have a medical care when they were indisposed or injured due to their prejudice or discriminations from others. Besides that, they have also have 4 times more attempted or complete suicide as they were treated as the marginalized group. Also, according to statistics collected from the Center for Comparative and Public Law, the University of Hong Kong in 2018, there are 49% of respondents believe that the homosexual couples should have the right of hospital visitations, and 36% of respondents believe that this sexual minority should have the right to receive the decedent's assets. As a result, the legalizations towards the same-sex marriage were beneficial to the sexual minorities by giving enough of legal protections to the surviving spouse, and they should have the right to receive the equal social security as the heterosexual married couples, which can allow them to receive the equal rights and diminish the death rate. Some opponents of same-sex marriage demonstrate that the homosexuality is treated as a taboo or disease towards the interpretations of God's commandments, and the civilizations become ravaged as it affects their religious liberty. Also, regarding the Bible's views, at chapter 15, verse 29, the human should abstain from sexual immorality, and is not tolerated even among the pagans. Nevertheless, the biblical views on same-sex marriage has been changed recently due to the views of sectants. According to the data collected from the Religious Ethical News Weekly, in 2018, there are 39.1% of respondents who had religious belief, including Christianity, are favored in same-sex marriage because some of them believe that people should have the compassionate towards others regardless of their sexual orientations, even if it's contrary to the God's creative intent. And nowadays, many churches are welcome to the sexual minorities to enter into the community, to forgive sinners, to follow the Christ, as they started to believe that the human rights is crucial for the real civilizations. To conclude, Gandhi once said, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Therefore, we should abandon all the stereotypes I mentioned above. Marriage is a binding relationship which is involved two parties, but it should regardless of different gender. Lack of option towards marriage is an act of violating the constitutional rights of these sexual minorities. As a result, marriage is a human right, but not a heterosexual privilege. And I believe that the legalizations of same-sex marriage in Hong Kong will lead us one step closer to the real civilizations." Thank you.